Nobody wanted him. That was the simple truth sitting in that shelter file. 3 months, 11 people had walked past his kennel. 11 people had looked at those bright yellow-green eyes glowing out of that jet-black face and kept walking. Some picked up the pace. One woman actually flinched. His name was Shadow. No one knew who had named him that or why. Maybe it was obvious. Maybe it was a warning. A small black domestic longhair with silky fur, maybe a year and a half old, perfectly healthy, perfectly sweet, with bright, curious eyes that should have made someone stop, and yet completely invisible to everyone who walked through those shelter doors. Because he was black. That was it. That was the whole reason. The shelter staff knew the statistics. Black cats are the last to be adopted and the first to be euthanized. Not because they're mean, not because they're broken, because of a story people told themselves for centuries, that black cats are bad luck, that they carry darkness with them, that something about them just isn't quite right. Shadow had been sitting in that kennel long enough that the staff had stopped talking about his chances. Every morning they fed him, every evening they checked on him, and every day a new family walked past. Mia was 24 years old and had never owned a cat in her life. She hadn't gone to the shelter that Saturday morning to adopt one. She'd gone because her roommate needed someone to drive her. She sat in the waiting area scrolling through her phone while her roommate filled out paperwork for a tabby kitten in the front room. That's when the shelter volunteer asked if she wanted to walk the cat wing while she waited. She said sure, she had nothing else to do. She almost missed him entirely. Shadow was sitting at the back of his kennel, not pressing against the bars, not crying, not doing any of the things the other cats were doing to get attention. He was just sitting there, still, watching her with those yellow-green eyes like he'd seen 100 people walk past and had stopped expecting anything different. Mia stopped. She didn't know why. Something about the way he looked at her, not desperately, not aggressively, just steadily, like he was simply deciding whether she was worth the energy, like he had done this before and learned not to get his hopes up. She put her fingers through the bars. He didn't move for a long moment. Then he walked over, slowly, deliberately, and pressed the side of his face to her hand. That was it. That was the whole moment. No fireworks, no dramatic revelation, just a black cat in a gray kennel deciding after 3 months of being ignored that maybe this one was different. Mia went back to the front desk and asked how long he'd been there. 3 months, they told her. She asked why no one had taken him. The volunteer looked at her for a second, then said quietly, "People get nervous around black cats. It's an old superstition, but it still matters more than it should." Mia was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "I'll take him." If you've been watching this channel for a while and you haven't subscribed yet, this is the story that made me start it. Hit that subscribe button right now because what happens next is exactly why these stories need to be told. The first night, Shadow hid under Mia's bed for 6 hours. She didn't try to coax him out. She just sat on the floor nearby, talking softly, about her day, about nothing, about the weird neighbor in 4B and the coffee that had gone cold on her desk, and the fact that she had absolutely no idea what she was doing. "You're not bad luck," she told the darkness under her bed. "I don't believe that, and I need you to know that I'm not going anywhere." She heard nothing back, but around midnight, a small, warm weight settled against her feet on top of the blanket. She didn't move. She barely breathed. The apartment was completely silent, just the two of them in the dark. He stayed. By the end of the first week, Shadow had mapped every inch of that apartment with the focused precision of someone who had once lost everything and was not going to let that happen again. The windowsill by the kitchen where the morning light came through, the arm of the couch where he could watch the door, the corner of Mia's desk just to the left of her laptop where he could supervise whatever she was working on and occasionally walk directly across the keyboard at critical moments. He wasn't an easy cat. He startled at loud sounds. He sometimes disappeared for hours into the back of the closet and wouldn't come out. There were days when Mia could see the shelter in him still, that careful stillness, that waiting for something bad that never quite came. But he was learning, slowly on his own terms, he was learning. And Mia was learning too. She learned that he liked the sound of rain, but not thunder, that he had strong opinions about which blanket was acceptable and which was not, that if she was upset, really upset, the kind she tried not to show, he always knew. He'd appear from wherever he was and sit beside her. Not on her, not demanding anything, just beside her. present. Like he understood that sometimes you don't need to be fixed, you just need someone to stay. 6 weeks after Mia brought Shadow home, she introduced him to her boyfriend, Daniel. Daniel had grown up hearing the stories. Black cats, bad luck, all of it. He didn't believe them exactly, but he didn't not believe them either. The way those things settle into you when you're young, you don't realize how deep they go until you're standing in your girlfriend's apartment and a pair of yellow-green eyes is staring at you from across the room. Shadow stared at Daniel for a long time. Daniel stared back. Then Shadow walked over, sniffed Daniel's hand once, and sat down on his feet. Daniel looked at Mia. "He likes you," she said. "How can you tell?" "Because he's sitting on your feet. That means you passed." Daniel laughed. Then he reached down, slowly, and scratched behind Shadow's ears. Shadow closed his eyes and started to purr, a deep, steady rumble that vibrated up through Daniel's hand and into his chest. "He's not bad luck at all," Daniel said quietly. "No, he never was." Daniel didn't say anything else. He just sat there with that big black cat purring on his feet, feeling something he hadn't expected, something that felt a lot like being chosen. Here's something worth knowing. Black cats are not more aggressive, not less healthy, not less loving than any other cat. The superstition has no basis in biology, in behavior, in anything real. It's a story, just a story that has cost countless animals their chance at a home and a life. Shadow spent 3 months in a shelter kennel because of a story. 3 months of watching people walk past. 3 months of being perfectly fine, perfectly friendly, perfectly ready, and being invisible anyway. The right home was always out there for him. It just needed someone willing to stop walking. Mia still has Shadow. He's 3 years old now, healthy and bold and completely certain that the apartment belongs to him. He still sits on her desk during work calls, staring judgmentally at her laptop screen. He still appears beside her on hard days without being asked. He sleeps at the foot of the bed every night, not because he has to, because he chose to. The same way she chose him, not out of obligation, but out of something quieter. Some things come into your life quietly and without announcement. A small black cat pressing his face against your fingers in a shelter kennel on a Saturday morning when you weren't even looking. You don't always know what they're bringing with them until much later. Shadow wasn't bad luck. He was the opposite of bad luck. He was the reminder that what we fear most is sometimes exactly what we needed, and that the ones the world overlooks are often the ones who see us most clearly. If you're thinking about adopting, walk the whole shelter. Look at every face, especially the ones sitting quietly in the back, not asking for anything. They're not asking because they've been disappointed before, but they haven't stopped hoping. Give them a reason not to be.